Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tara Chadwick, and I'm the curator of exhibitions here at HISTORY Fort Lauderdale. And I welcome you today to our virtual opening of Florida Everglades, a solo exhibition of art by Tim Forman. Today, I believe our YouTube comments are turned on, so you can feel free to enter any comments that you have. I am going to be showing you a couple of visits that we had with Tim this week, and beginning with a visit to his home studio. So enjoy. Hi, welcome to our online opening of Florida Everglades, work by Tim Forman. I am happy to introduce to you this artist for his annual show, summer show here at HISTORY Fort Lauderdale. And I'm going to bring him up right now. Welcome,
All
Tim. How are you
right.
doing?
I'm doing good, Tara. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. It's lovely to come to you live from your home office studio.
It's good to be here.
Thank you so much for bringing your artwork to HISTORY Fort Lauderdale again. I'm really excited about this year's show. You chose a theme this year of Florida Everglades, which is
Yeah.
really, really exciting. But before we get into the theme for this year's show, would you like to share a little bit about the style of artwork that you do and how you got started as an artist?
Okay. Well, I d my style of artwork, I would say, is impressionistic. I use oil on canvas as my medium, and what I like to do is capture the essence of a scene. So um, I'm very much drawn to light and therefore I paint landscape. I do paint people sometimes, but mostly landscape. That's the primary thing where you go out. And I've obviously been born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, so I love painting scenes from around Florida. And the Everglades is one of them. I mean, you got the beaches and you got the waterways and all of that. But yeah, I was born and raised here and grew up in this area. So obviously you see it all the time, and um, it's fun to go out and capture it. I do a little bit of my technique as I go out on site and actually paint out there on the scene. I'll take pictures as well and then bring those things back to the studio, and that helps me do some of the larger paintings and my larger ideas. And of course, when you're out in the Everglades, there's always mosquitoes and all those things you have to look out for, but it's fun. It's definitely fun. Um, so
That
anyway, sorry, go
So
ahead.
I was just going to ask you, because that's one thing that's different. I feel about your work versus your regular landscape painting that you would see, is that you have a particular way of capturing the reflection of the light, or how the light at least looks to me. When I see, for example, on this, you can kind of see the light rays uh, emanating from above your head there. And like, and I think that, like, I'm wondering if that is because you are literally out there, like that you're finding a way to express on your painting the feeling that you felt when you were out there, and the observation that your eye can pick up that a camera can't necessarily capture as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah, and one of the things, as an artist, they say notice what you notice. And so when you go somewhere, it's like, wow, what is it that stands out to you? Um, I know my grandmother used to always tell me, like, you're always painting the sky and the water. And I guess that's the thing that I enjoy. And we have such beautiful clouds and sunsets and sort of broad sceneries, and, seeing the horizon line back there. So anyway, it's a beautiful place to grow up, and I'm enjoying capturing it and bringing some artwork to share.
Beautiful. And these paintings that are going to be that are on display starting today, um, what like how, over what scale of time have you been working on this body of work?
Wow. So I don't know if I have the exact time frame, but most of them have probably been painted within the last maybe 10 years. Um, and some of them are more recent. Um, but they're all from the Florida Everglades, which is obviously a huge national park in this, south center of Florida over here. And yeah, it's just a collection that I've carried, part of my portfolio. And um, anyway, I'm just happy to
And
bring them out and people can enjoy them.
what made you decide this year to focus on the Everglades?
So I guess, well, last year we did the beaches and, there's certain kind of themes or categories of work. And the Everglades is definitely one that I enjoy going out and capturing. I often travel down to like Tamiami Trail or Highway 41. Great scenic highway. If you ever want to get down and just kind of see. And honestly, if you don't mind, I share, like, I feel like there's not it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh wow, the mountains. It's like a big swamp when you go out there and you're wondering like, oh wow, there's this barren wilderness. And honestly, when I think the settlers even first came, they thought the same thing. Let's drain this thing and build a bunch of real estate, and that's kind of part of the history, and they started to conserve it. And but there is a more hidden beauty, I would say, about the Everglades for sure. And there's so many birds and little critters that if you stop and actually look, you'll see them. Sometimes you have to like pull over on the side of the road or go off to one of those boardwalks. And like I was at the earlier this year, I was out on a trip with my wife and we were staying at like a campground out there, and it was so beautiful just to be out there on the dirt roads watching the sun come up and capturing the light and seeing the pine trees and the grass. um and obviously it's cooler in the wintertime, so that's the ideal time to go there, is when it's cool.
Slightly less
But
mosquitoes, maybe.
oh yes, slightly less mosquitoes for sure. And lots of alligators, a lot of bird watchers. You always see people out there with their cameras, and there's wildlife. um and so you'll notice there's a lot of you'll see birds in a lot of the paintings, because that's very typical out there. um Sometimes you'll see in some of the scenes the grass is brown, and that's a winter thing. In the summer, I feel like everything gets green. All The cypress trees actually lose their leaves in the winter, which is interesting. And so there's a lot more. They look more, a lot more like just sticks sticking up. But then summertime comes and it all blossoms. And of course, that's the time when it gets hotter and there's more mosquitoes and more rain. But there is somewhat of a season, and
Yeah.
the it's interesting. The Everglades is actually like a river of grass. If you ever look at a satellite shot of South Florida, you can even kind of see sort of the flow, just from the geographical, photograph of looking what it looks like. And the water flows down, and so it's not just like a stagnant swamp. There is a movement of the water, and that supports like a whole ecosystem. Um, and anyway, there's some great places to drive around and dirt trails out there. You kind of have to poke around and explore. Um, and you can get tours and different things, but it's there's a hidden beauty there. And I think I think when you've lived here for a while too, you in some ways appreciate it more. Um, and you're familiar with it, and so it's kind of like home.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so, it's so funny how well, at least I notice myself like spending so much time in my immediate area, like between work and, groceries and home. Like that's it, like especially now this past, year and a half or whatever, like very rarely venturing out. And yet when I do, like it's like like this whole new world exists outside my neighborhood. I'm like, oh, why don't I ever come out here? And I think, like, I mean, I do go to the beach fairly often because I live 3 miles from the beach, but, like to go the, you know, 20 miles to the Everglades, like it just seems like there's so many people in my neighborhood who have never been to the Everglades, or if they did, it was on that, seventh grade field trip or whatever, and they never went back. So, like, what would you say to, or people who are, a lot of people are scared because it's, like if you go out there, you become familiar. But if you haven't been out there, it's like a completely unfamiliar wilderness. And there's, alligators out there that could eat you, and there's panthers, and, and nobody likes mosquitoes. So, like, what would you say to like people who are, maybe thinking about it, but are more kind of like, that's too far, or, like, I don't know, like, I don't even know how to go out there, or, like, I mean, is it worth
Hmm.
it? Do you think it's worth it? Your paintings are beautiful. Your paintings make me think like it's worth the effort to figure out a way to get out there. But what would you say to people who are, maybe hesitant, or, haven't decided to make the effort yet, or don't know how?
That's a good question. Um, I would say that there's some places you can start out, like they always have the airboat tour rides. Those are very popular. There's a Shark Valley Visitor Center where they do a tram tour and you get to like a lookout area. And there's obviously little parks along the way, and you don't have to go super far to get to some of those places. I think most people might be familiar with it because they cross Alligator Alley or I-75, to get to Naples. It's like, oh yeah, there's the Everglades. And
Yeah.
but there's definitely some small ways where you can learn, and I think my favorite drive is the Tamiami Trail, and there's a lot more places to stop along there. It's obviously not as fast. And I don't know if you're ever curious, there's a really cool road called Loop Road, and it's a dirt road, so just warning, it's kind of slow moving, but you're like right in the middle of it. Um, the cypress trees, the water, the grass, and it is um, like you're on, it's not dangerous. It's not like you're out hiking in the middle of it. I mean, when we were little kids, my dad would actually take us and we would literally go like hiking through the water, and
Wow.
that's those, you don't have to necessarily do that, but that was at the Fakahatchee Strand, which is over off Highway 29, and there's some really cool places out there. But yeah, that my dad was crazy anyway. But for some of us who are a little more like, I just want to see it, there's some great ways you can get a tour, or go to the Shark Valley Visitor Center or some of those places.
And there's a
And
visitor center over there on Loop Road too, isn't there? I think I remember driving by once, seeing a little like museum type little thingy over there somewhere along
yeah,
that highway.
they do have a lot of those little areas, and it's I think when you learn more about it too, you can appreciate it more.
Mm.
um, and a little bit about the history, and just I mean, honestly, I think about 100 years ago, they were going to try to get rid of it. It was just a swamp, like, let's drain it. And then we started to learn that no, this is a huge source, a resource of water and a whole ecosystem for Florida.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when it was set apart and conserved. And, now we can enjoy it. Obviously, it's not like, you know, Zion National Park or something like that where we can hike but there is, like I said, a very hidden beauty that preserves what Florida has to offer. And I would say there's a lot of cool birds. Like if you like birds, there's a lot of cool birds out there. And obviously some people like fishing, and there's some good fishing down there in all those areas as well. So even just to drive across it, you can definitely get the feel of it for sure. Um, and enjoy, what I guess what the natural beauty that's here in our own state.
Mhm. Beautiful. Well, thank you for being a good role model, ambassador for the Everglades. It's really beautiful to have that, to have that encouragement and even to be able to see in your artwork, like that glimpse of beauty, even for those who may not be able to, to make that trip. Being able to see some of your works. Do you think should we take a quick look at a couple of the works that you have that you're going to have on view?
Yeah, sure, you can throw some up there.
Okay. Well, I'll start by the one behind us here. That was like a really quick slideshow.
There you go. That was a sneak peek right there.
Yeah. I just wanted, because we were talking so much about it, I just wanted everybody to get a really quick little preview of some of the beautiful works that you've created and that you're sharing with us at History Fort Lauderdale for the rest of the summer.
Aw.
So let's see. I have a little screen to let you know that Florida Everglades will be on view at History Fort Lauderdale starting today, July 3rd, through September 26th. And we are located at 231 Southwest 2nd Avenue. You can get more information at historyfortlauderdale.org. So is there anything else that you wanted everyone to know about your work, upcoming shows, or anything else that you wanted to let us know before we head out and go look at the beautiful paintings?
Oh, well, I would just encourage everyone, just take time and enjoy it. I'm glad for the art to be there, and it captures a moment. And yeah, feel free to look around, and I love the fact that it's at the History Museum. Um, and anyway, I do have more work as well, and you can see that on my website, timformanart.com. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any art questions. I also do custom paintings for people as well. But I'm happy that the Historical Society, I'm grateful to them for exhibiting my work over the summer, and they're great. And anyway, this is just a great opportunity to display and appreciate Florida and also our history and the natural beauty of the Florida Everglades. So anyway, thank you, Tara, and everyone there.
Thank you so much, Tim. We appreciate you too, and your work and your sharing with us. It's really great to have you come and join us and bring your perspective as a multi-generational Floridian here.
Yeah.
it's important, you know, that we support local voices, and that, you know, our perspectives, our multiple perspectives are part of the history, today's history, the history that we're making today.
That's great. So come out and see some artwork.
Yes, yes. We're open every day from 10 to 4. You can find more information on our website. I'll put that on again, historyfortlauderdale.org. And there's tours available at 1, 2, and 3. I highly recommend taking the tour. You know, allow yourself at least an hour for the tour when you come and see the exhibition, so then you can get the context of what it was like and during the early days of Fort Lauderdale. So thank you again, Tim, so much. Thank you to our funders and sponsors, Broward Cultural Division, Culture Builds Florida from the Department of State Division of Art and Culture, as well as Visit Lauderdale. Thank you so much, Tim. We will see you at the show.
All right. Thank you, Tara. See you
Thank
guys.
you. Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
So now we're going to take a little tour of the exhibition that was installed yesterday, and we will welcome any questions that you guys might have during this time. Just add them to the chat. Have a good tour.
I'm a Florida landscape artist, as you can tell. These are all oil on canvas. Primarily, I was self-taught and then felt inspired, like God put in my heart to do it full time. I paint the Everglades, the beaches, the beautiful scenery, and capture paintings that preserve moments in time and allow people to enjoy nature for years to come. What inspires me is obviously nature. I love painting the light, the horizon line, obviously the big picture. And then, of course, growing up in Florida, where I was born and raised, and getting out to see it. And particularly here, we have the Everglades featured in this exhibit. So I invite everyone to come and see this exhibit in person from now until September 26th at History Fort Lauderdale, New River Inn building. And this is from about maybe 4 years ago when the Everglades like flooded. We had a ton of rain, everything was covered in water. And I remember going to this spot, which is actually on a ranch, and I'm in a swamp buggy right now. So I'm kind of driving through, it's like 2 or 3 feet of water, but there were these spoonbills everywhere. And it was so pretty to see them all flocking in. And I captured this scene and completed it later in the studio with some photographs later on. But I love it. It's called Everglades Reflection.
So thank you again, everyone, for joining us for this very special digital opening of Tim Forman art. The art is on view now at History Fort Lauderdale. Go to our website, historyfortlauderdale.org, for more information. I'll put it back up here so you guys can visit, and we look forward to seeing you. Our tours of the campus do include a visit to the Tim Forman art, and also include the 2 additional museum buildings on our campus, and they're available at 1, 2, and 3 every day. Or you can also call to book a tour at if one of those times don't work for you. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the museum. Bye.